If you're a close follower of stock markets, then you must be acquainted with the sudden rise in share price of Vodafone Idea. After closing at Rs 6.85 on 3rd Feb, the stock saw a surge of 24.38% to hit a day high of Rs 8.57 on 6th of Feb. Not only that, around 7.7 crore shares were traded in a single day, which is more than double compared to the 2-week average volume of 3.32 crores. So, what happened all this weekend that the otherwise dormant stock suddenly became everyone's favorite? Well, the positive reaction comes after the government's announcement to convert the telecom operators' interest dues into equity. This translates to a burden of Rs 16,133 crores, which had been looming over Vi's head for the last few years, finally being written off. But wait, where did this burden come from in the first place? And why did Vodafone Idea owe the government 16,000 crores? So today, we at Upsurge make an attempt to explain the entire timeline of events that have happened for Vi in the last few years. We'll also talk about what the future holds for them, so make sure that you watch the video till the end. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe so that the YouTube algorithm works in our favor. As we all know, Vodafone and Idea Cellular used to be two of the leading telecom operators in the country. However, the emergence and subsequent dominance of Jio, a telecom company launched by Reliance in 2016, posed major challenges for both these companies. To deal with falling market shares and revenues, in March 2017, it was announced that Vodafone and Idea Cellular would merge. It was only in August 2018 that they got the final nod from the National Company Law Tribunal, and the merger was completed on 31st August 2018. The merger created the largest telecom company in the country by subscribers and by revenue. However, the next 2 years weren't as much of a smooth sailing that they'd expected it to be. Vodafone Idea lost over 130 million subscribers in this time period. This can mainly be attributed to the introduction of 4G spectrum and fast connectivity by other players. We couldn't leverage this opportunity and the result is before us. And to add to their woes came the AGR dues. What are these, you might ask? For that, we need to go back a little bit. In 1994, the telecom sector was liberalized, and after this, licenses were issued to companies in return of a fixed license fee. To give some respite to companies from the heavy upfront payment, the government introduced the option of a revenue sharing model in 1999. Under this, telecom operating companies were required to share a percentage of their adjusted gross revenue or AGR with the government as license fee and spectrum usage charges. At present, telecom service providers pay around 3 to 5% AGR as spectrum usage charges and 7 to 8% as license fees. The dispute between telcos and government has been mainly on the definition of AGR. The Department of Telecommunications asserts that AGR includes all revenues from both telecom as well as non-telecom services. However, the companies argue that AGR should include just the revenue from their core services and not the dividend, interest income or profit from the sale of any investment or fixed assets. So, in 2005, the Cellular Operators Association of India or COAI challenged the government's definition of AGR. And after a decade-long battle, the Telecom Dispute Settlement and Appellate Tribunal or the TDSAT upheld the definition of AGR proposed by the telecom operators. It held that AGR includes all receipts except capital receipts and revenue from non-core services. But the relief was short-lived because on October 24, 2019, the Supreme Court overruled the TDSAT order and ruled the case in favor of the government. The definition as stipulated by the Department of Telecommunication was to be followed. This meant that Bharti Airtel, Vodafone Idea and other telecom operators collectively owed the government nearly Rs 1.56 lakh crores in the form of past statutory dues. This amount includes not only the dues but also the penalty on dues as well as the interest on penalty due to delay in payment. Supreme Court gave the telcos 3 months to clear up these dues. But almost all of these missed the deadline to pay the amount in January 2020. After that, the timeline of events went something like this. In November 2019, the telcos filed for a review of the Supreme Court's previous ruling on the matter. In July 2020, once again, the Supreme Court announced that there can be no adjustment of the dues and that the calculation is final. However, it did decide to give the telecom companies 10 years to pay these dues gradually. In January 2021, Bharti Airtel moved an application to the Supreme Court seeking the correction of arithmetic errors in the calculation of dues. In July, Vodafone Idea also joined Airtel in this plea. Now again, on July 23, 2021, the Supreme Court dismissed all these applications against alleged errors in the calculation of AGR-related dues payable by them. A major respite came on 15th of September 2021 when the government announced a relief package offering a moratorium of 4 years of all dues from the telecom sector. In the press conference, it was also announced that for future purposes, the AGR dues will be calculated based on the core telecom revenues only. The government also allowed 100% FDI in telecom sector through the automatic route. Both Vodafone Idea and Airtel opted for the deferred payment option. However, this in no way meant that they should forget about the dues. Vodafone Idea in particular had a debt liability of over rupees 2 lakh crores with 50,000 crores out of it owed just to the government. So, to save Vi from shutting the shop, government agreed to convert only the interest on the penalty portion of the debt to equity. This meant that rupees 16,000 crores in exchange for a 33% stake in the company, paving the way to becoming the single largest shareholder in the telco. The move was long awaited as the government first waited to ensure capital adequacy in the company and receive assurance from Vi's promoters that there will be a further capital infusion. This would help save not only a major company from bankruptcy but also save the entire industry, which would otherwise have been dominated by just two players, Jio and Airtel, something which the government didn't want. Union Minister of Communications, Mr. Ashwini Vaishnaw, on Friday said, "We had sought a firm commitment that the Aditya Birla Group would run the company and bring necessary investments. Birlas have agreed, and hence we've agreed to convert. We want India to be a three-player market, plus BSNL, and ensure healthy competition for consumers." Just after the announcement, Vi's investors saw a new and bright future, and thus the share price jumped by over 20%. This move may be the beginning of a blank slate for Vodafone Idea. It will certainly help them to get their existing bank debt refinanced, if not get any additional loan. So now, to narrow down the gap between Vi and its competitors, it needs to act on its feet and finalize its plan to roll out 5G. Whether an imminent duopoly has been avoided or just delayed for the time being is not known. The scenario fully depends on Vi's ability to convert capital into the company and increase capex on certain necessary operations. Do you think that Vodafone Idea will be able to have a much needed comeback? Let us know in the comments. So, this was a short and crisp background of the Vodafone Idea menace and the recent debt conversion. If you found this video informative, then do like it and also share it with your friends.